So this month's monthly Power BI update coincides with Microsoft's annual build event where they announced this new product, Microsoft Fabric. Along with that is a collection of so many new products and features that I think this month's update video is going to be a little bit longer than usual. So let's not waste any time and let's jump straight into it. Hi, my name is Fernan and welcome to the Solutions Abroad YouTube channel, where we cover tips, tricks, and best practices when working with Power BI. I upload new videos every week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified when a new one is out. So here we are. So I'm gonna jump into the blog post straight away and let's just skim through some of the announcements that I'm particularly excited about. So the first one that I wanted to talk about is this new mode to connect to your data, the direct lake. It's currently in public preview, and from what I understand here in this diagram, it lets you query your data directly from the lakehouse, which is part of this whole OneLake infrastructure. There is a video that I did in the past covering the import mode and direct query mode, as well as their benefits and limitations. But with this new direct lake solution, it seems that it's promising us to solve the problems from both those worlds. So I'm really excited to try this out and see what you can do with it. You can now migrate your semantic models from Azure Analysis Services to Fabric or Power BI Premium, or embedded with just a few clicks. So this feature is currently in GA, and it lets you sort of move your models and rebind your reports to them with a few clicks, making the sort of arduous process that you would do normally quite simple. Personally, it's not something that I use quite a lot, so I'm not too familiar with the back end of this and what problems it solves. But if this is something within your ballpark, now you have a solution that you can use. The Optimise Ribbon is now in GA, which I've already covered in a separate video, but essentially it bundles up all the different ways that you can optimize and improve the performance of your reports, from posing your visuals to analyzing different loading times using the performance analyzer. Hybrid tables is now in GA. It's currently available for those with the premium capacity, and it basically allows you to combine data coming from import modes and direct query mode into this single table. So here in the blog post, they showed quite of a nice visual showing a good use case of where it might be useful. So example is you might want to use import mode for a sort of archive data, whereas you want to use direct query for those data that you might want to see in real time. Azure Log Analytics for Power BI datasets is now available and is in GA. Basically, what this allows you as an admin is to monitor and analyze the activity within your sort of Power BI premium workspaces. And it seems that with this release, it's also giving you the ability to monitor multiple premium workspaces within your tenant. The analytics cover things like performance, usage, and other metrics that I've not really tried for myself. So I'll have a look and see if I can cover this in a separate video by itself. OneLake Data Hub is a rebrand of the current name Data Hub, which is a place that you would typically use to discover, manage, or reuse data that you've imported in your Power BI service. The key feature that comes with this is the Explorer, which lets you find data items across multiple workspaces. Another small change that they've made is in the Lineage, which now supports Fabric items. So now you don't just see it from your source, your Excel files, for example, and how it goes to your datasets, to your reports. It can now go a bit higher upstream because everything is now within this Fabric ecosystem. So you can see here in this example, you can see how the data moves from your lakehouse, processed by your pipelines, towards your SQL databases, and then towards to your Power BI reports. So as part of this new Fabric update as well, when you update your Power BI desktop, you will find in your Get Data section, you will find some new connectors that you can connect to as part of the Fabric update. So these would be the Lakehouse in Microsoft Fabric, Warehouse, and the KQL database. Azure Maps is now generally available in Power BI, so you can use them straight away. It lets you customize many elements within your maps that you normally wouldn't be able to with the default maps that is available for you. When and if it's enabled within your organization, you will have the option to upgrade your current maps into an Azure map that lets you do all of those fancy things. You can now use measures to change the data labels in your reports. Now, it's really funny for me because I have created a video recently covering how you can do this using dynamic format strings, and it's a bit of a workaround. But it seems that this feature is going to be a more native way to do that. And I can already see so many possibilities with this. So if you're interested in learning about the workaround, I'll leave a link to it somewhere here in this video. But I'll try to cover again using this native solution. The ability to open, save, and share PBIX files across OneDrive and SharePoint has now been made even easier. This feature is currently in preview, but what it allows you to do, as you can see, is when you hit save in your reports, instead of just giving you the options within your desktop, within your local machine. If you have previously worked on other OneDrive locations or SharePoint locations, it will give those to you as an option as well. This option makes it so much easier to collaborate with your other colleagues whenever you're sharing files across each other. There's a new DAX function that was announced, MATCHBY, which is a DAX function that you typically use in combination with the window function. Now, I haven't covered the window function yet, so I'll probably cover it along with MATCHBY in the future, but it essentially allows you to determine how the data is matched to identify the current row within your window function. As I mentioned, I will cover it in a future video to show you guys how you would use this with the window and how to use the window function. But they have given you a sort of snippet of how the query could be evaluated. Doesn't really tell you much about how this affects the results. So I'll try to use some examples to make it even clearer. Data loss prevention policies are now generally available in Power BI. So basically it's something that can automatically detect data that you upload or imports into your Power BI service and try to identify if those data should be labeled a certain way based on your rules that you've applied. So for example, if one of your colleagues start to import address information in the Power BI service, the DLP policies should kick in and give them a customized message, which is something that you can customize as a tenant admin to tell them that they need to apply some sensitivity labels so that the data is handled correctly. So the DLP policies just gives you the ability, at least from what I understand, the ability to add those rules, the automatic rules, which I'll try to cover in a separate video. But this is an extension of the sensitivity labels, which I also covered in a previous video, which is basically making sure that your data and reports are classified in the right way so that the data is kind of not passed around, especially if they are sensitive data. Editing your data models directly in Power BI service is something that I've already covered in a separate video, and it's because it came right after the April month's updates, and it wasn't really part of the monthly update, but now it's included here and it's currently in preview. Basically, what this feature allows you to do is edit your model directly in Power BI service. It's not something that you normally would be able to do. Normally, you'd be able to edit your reports, change up your visuals within the service. But if you wanted to edit your DAX measures, your DAX columns, you'd need to download that PBIX into your Power BI desktop, edit it there, and then republish it back into the service. But now with this new solution, you don't need to do that. You can edit those yourself. You can edit those DAX measures or your DAX calculations directly within your Power BI service. This is a good start in the right direction. However, there are still very many limitations with this solution. So I have covered it in my previous video. So go check that one out if you haven't yet. Power BI tabs for teams is now available. Now, what this basically lets you do is add a tab within your teams, which is a Power BI tab, which you can paste links directly into that page to show you a Power BI report or dashboard. With this link, I can already see so many different opportunities of how you can use this, such as, sharing or adding pages, links to the same reports, but with pre-filters so that you only show the ones that are relevant to those users within that team. Or you can add full-on org apps within these links. So I want to actually try this out and see what the limitations are. So I'll also try to cover this one because it seems interesting. And that really covers the majority of the things that I wanted to cover in this month's update. There are so many things that I skipped out. If you want to learn about more about what I covered, as well as the ones that I didn't cover, I'll leave a link to the full blog post in the description box below. Thanks for watching. As usual, give this video a like if you found it useful. Give it a dislike if you didn't, so not to do better for next time. Ask your questions in the comment section box below so I can help you and you can help others. If you like this video, we have a Patreon page where you can support the channel and get exclusive perks like early access, demo files, and credits at the end of these videos. Thanks again for watching and see you in the next one. Bye bye.